back to 24/7 Sins. We're in the final build of my Ryzen 1700 Quiet build. Now, as I said in previous videos, there were some changes that were happening during my build. Some changes, some items that I liked, but the way this build was going, those items didn't work out. As they didn't before, I had an issue with my crucial solid state drive. Unfortunately, it quit working, and I had to send it in, and they sent me another one. I decided I was going to go with the Samsung NVMe solid state drive 960 EVO M.2. I will say that the solid state drive was a little bit of a pain to get the motherboard to accept. However, once I completed that, this solid state drive is considerably faster than the previous solid state drive. The other big change was the fans. There's two there. And those fans are the Noctool Industrial PPC NF-A14 2000 PWM fans. The previous fans, as I stated, were the Fractal HF14 Venturi. The fans I went with were as the industrial fans, and let's see if I can get a fairly decent close-up. There we go. Okay, now I will say that these were fairly expensive. I think they're like $28 a piece. I've already got the EVGA CLC 280 cooler. I already have it installed, and I did the pull method. Now, I tested this both ways. I tried that method as a push. I also tried a push-pull method. And for this particular case, in this situation, that the Noctool fans performed better just as a pull method. The push-pull method moved basically about the same amount of air, but the decimals were quite a bit higher. Just the restriction of how close the fans are on the push side is, if you notice up here on the top, I had a CD-ROM drive that I had put in there. I pulled it out. I felt that I was going to be able to use it, as I've had some discs, but nowadays I'm not going to need these discs anymore, and a lot of the disc software that comes with products that you buy, you can actually download it from their website. So I decided that I was going to head and pull it out. Now, I'll do a little update if I decide to mount some type of fan up in here. I still haven't decided if I'm going to mount a fan somewhere in here. So the Vega is going to produce some more heat, so I'll address another fan at that time. But right now, I think this is going to perform pretty well with just the 3-fan setup. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and install our graphics card. Now again, this was the RX 470 from MSI, the AMD. It does fairly well. Now, of course, you know it's not going to do as well as a NVIDIA 1060 or their 1070, but as a hold-off point until the Vega graphics card comes out, this was the way I decided to go. We have the MSI RX 470 installed. Now, as you notice right here, for the EVGA cooler that lights up, so this actually goes into your USB 2.0. Once I get the color set for the cooler, I'm going to unplug it. you will be able to unplug this once you have your color scheme set up, which is pretty nice because I need this plug-in and being able to unplug that. Now you might say, well, maybe you want to keep an eye on the RPMs and things like that and fan hookups. Well, I have no fans hooked to this. I am not going to, I have a monitor for the flow on the software for ASUS, so I really have no need for this wire, and it's kind of really in the way. So it works out great that on the EVGA CLC 280, I can actually unhook this and I will not need it hooked up. Now, each is its own. You can leave yours hooked up and try to hide the wiring the best as you can, but I'm not going to need it, nor am I going to use it. Okay, so we're going to start getting some wiring done. Now, as I stated in my previous video, ta-da! I have been waiting on cable mods. Now, I've been waiting for quite a while. I ran into some issue with cable mods. However, they finally sent me some stuff that'll work. With the Prime Titanium 650, the wire configuration is a little different from the wires you get from Cable Mod, and the wires they came with the power supply. So on this particular one, as you notice, as you notice, it has 6 and 8. The 6 inside will actually go into the power supply, and the 8 inside will go into the GPU. Now, the original power supply came with a 7-pin to an 8-pin, and that was part of the problem I had with the cable mods. But we finally got it figured out. I would rather have had it been wired the same way as the original, but nevertheless, it works. Okay, roll this back out. I'm going to go ahead and hook up your 8-pin and plug that one in. Now, when I ordered these, I ordered a 4-pin for the CPU, but as you see, it splits. But I still have to deal with the other side of the 4-pin. Is our 24-pin cable, as so. Whoops, okay. Plug in, make sure that it clicks, don't over push. There you go, just push in, you hear it click, and you're done. All right, as you can see, I've got the wiring hooked up in the front, and I got it cleaned up as best I could. There's actually not so much you can do unless you have something built to cover that off. Try to make it look as neat as possible. Let's go up. There's the GPU wires coming off. I'm trying to make that look as neatly as possible. There you go, 24 pin wires coming off the motherboard. And there are your CPU wires, your 8-pin and your 4-pin. 8 and your 4-pin. Got those hooked up. Overall, it's a very clean minimize the wiring. Let's go to the back side and I'll show you the wiring. Alright, so here we are on the back side of the case, and as you can see, I have tried to tidy the wires up as best as you can. There's only so much you can do to make these wires look as good as possible, and really no one's gonna see this. I just like the wires to look as tidy as possible. And if you notice right there, especially on the crosshair, that is one beefy backplate. It's not some cheesy plastic backplate. That is a metal beefy backplate. That was a really nice thing that AC Crosshair 6 Hero they put on the back of the motherboard, and made it real easy to hook up the cooler. Okay. Now, of course, you know, this is where your typical solid-state drives go, but since I'm not using that type of solid-state drive, I don't really have a use for them at the moment. And here we have the backside view of the case. So here we have the front of the case. Let's see if we can zoom out. There we go. If we can zoom out a little more. So here we are with the lights off. I have the lighting changed to red. Although the EVGA is red, it looks a little orange for some reason. The graphics card, GPU, is red. It's going to have to deal with the white. There's the rest of the red, although it looks a little orange. Quiet PC with a red tint color inside the case. Not too much, but just right. Alright, stay tuned for my next video where I will be doing some bench testing. Yay!